Need more Grok Talk? Well, you can catch new shows Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Miss a show? Not a problem. Past shows are rebroadcast here daily from 9 to 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. Join us for 2 hours of unapologetic conservatism. And we're not just armed with opinions. Welcome back to the program. Thanks, Jorge. We'll get that up as soon as we can, since we're the only ones who have it.
Well, we're the only people that will actually play it.
That's true, the whole thing. All right, Grok Talk brought to you by the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers and the bloggers at granitegrok.com. Check us out. Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, iHeart. We are also now on Facebook at facebook.com/Grok Talk. We also have a Google Plus page for Grok Talk. And every morning now from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we replay this and past programs all throughout the week. And then I'll try to add some evening hours as well as we proceed and even come up with something vaguely like a schedule so you know what show I'm playing. So there's plenty of opportunities to catch a program, and we hope you check it out.
Ideally, we should make it in the side panel, but right now you're putting it sticky at the top when it's playing, right?
That is absolutely correct, and then I unsticky it when I'm done.
Then maybe Coach Metzler can watch these and sit there and stew over what we said about him, because he is a tiny little man with a very short temper, and he should not be a school superintendent anywhere.
Shouldn't be anywhere near a school. If you're a tiny little man with a short temper, that's the worst form of Napoleon complex.
All right, so we have an expert on vote fraud and a whole bunch of municipal things, and I'm sure, absolutely certain, there's something that's happened in that realm that we should be talking about.
Didn't somebody get prosecuted recently?
Yeah, one of those things that never happens happened to a guy named Derek Gastonguay. I guess he was prosecuted. He pled guilty yesterday or was sentenced or whatever. I haven't followed that. I know who turned him in, and it's not the kind of voter fraud I was looking for. I think his residence was in Manchester, and he voted in Salem instead of where he was supposed to.
Oh, right, yep.
Didn't he vote in 2 New Hampshire towns or tried to?
Yeah, Salem and Windham, I think, were the 2.
Yeah.
So the AG's office has prosecuted him, and I think he may have pled guilty. He has to pay a $1,000 fine with a 24% penalty, whatever that is. And I guess you can't vote for a while until they say you can. He would have to go get permission to vote again. All right, so the AG's office caught somebody. He was turned in. He's probably most known as a local Republican activist. And somebody who he may have worked on one of their campaigns, turned him in when they saw him voting in the wrong place. Kind of stupid thing to do. I'm more after the professionals that come here and do it on a regular basis over and over again. And one of those guys that we caught back in October of 2014, we caught a guy named Jared Stephen Cram.
Yes.
So, Jared...
Can we say cram down yet?
Cram down all you want. Well, he's going to get crammed down a little more, hopefully. He was an attorney from Philadelphia. He originally lived in New Hampshire, in Nashua, I think, at first, and then his family moved to Wilton, and he would vote from his parents' home. So we found out that he went to college in Pennsylvania in 1998, registered to vote there, and then came back here and ran for office in 2002 for state rep. I lose him around 2003 to 2004. I can't find any real records on him. And I now have some people helping me out of Philadelphia. There's a blog there called Philadelinquency. And you should check out Philadelinquency.
You know, given what you've told us in the past on this program and on the blog about how difficult it was to get anything effective done through any of the regular channels, this is great news.
Well, this guy, the group that runs Philadelinquency, I sent them an email saying, hey, I saw your blog. It's great. They do exposés on zoning and the corruption in Philadelphia. They do a pretty good job of it. And I sent him an email, said, hey, just ran into your blog, and you got anything on this Jared Stephen Cram? Boom, they emailed me back. So we've been back and forth, maybe 25 or 30 emails so far, and they said they keep adding people to the stream. Like, we got a guy that can tell you what color underwear you wore 10 years ago. I said, great. We got people that can tell you what your dog's name was 10 years ago. So this will work out well. Apparently, Jared was elected elected to the position of election official in 2013. So we're currently tracking it down. He was elected to something in Berks County in 2007. So there's some more records out there of Jared. But he's currently serving as what's called a Philadelphia Committee Elections official of some sort. And his term goes from 2013 to 2017. So he is currently overseeing elections in Philadelphia to make sure they're fair.
Excellent.
Which is kind of odd.
While helping to commit election fraud in New Hampshire and probably other places.
Voting in Philadelphia in 2012 and in Wilton, New Hampshire in 2012. In what is, as far as I know, by reading the law, the same election. He voted in the Philadelphia primary, in Pennsylvania general primary for Obama. I imagine that's who he's campaigning for. And then he voted here in our general election and wrote a big, long article about it for the Daily Kos, which he admits a lot of stuff. His
which
family,
we linked to, yes.
Which we linked to. So we read that off. I think some of the people he took issue with in Wilton are now elected, serving in office. He has said that he, when caught, first of all, he called in. I think we called him from Rich Gerard's program, and he answered the phone and made some comments like he was going to sue us, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Well, apparently when he did a little research and found out that he had voted in 2 states and it was illegal, because voting in a primary in Philly and then the same election, the general election in New Hampshire, is a crime. It's illegal. I don't care what New Hampshire says about it because New Hampshire doesn't enforce their laws in this regard. So now I find out he's elected in 2013. We're trying to figure out, was he in any office in Philadelphia in 2012, the year he voted in both states. So the guys from Phila Delinquency are looking into that, and they've sent me a bunch of stuff. I linked them up with a couple people here, and we've been working at that pretty hard. But this will be fun to get to revisit Jared Stephen Cram. Now that he's sitting in office, he either has to abandon that or just suffer the lashes while he sits there. He also said that he voted in Wilton because he was sick and he was recovering from some sickness. His Facebook page...
Yeah, he's got a sickness, yeah.
His Facebook page was what they call scraped. Mm-hmm. So we have that from 2012. Apparently he took a train from Wilton to Scranton to compete in some sort of a computer game deal.
Sure,
he went
why
to
not?
Scranton. He got sick while he was in Scranton and came home, and he was fine. So he mentions nothing about being sick after that. But it's a fabulous excuse for recuperating in New Hampshire. That's why he voted here. It was easier to vote here. It's also illegal to vote here. And in Pennsylvania, their election statute is called Code 25. The chapter is 1304, and the paragraph is number 6. When one enters another state and votes in that state's election, that person loses their residency in the Commonwealth.
So if he was in elected office...
Even no matter what, when he votes in New Hampshire, he suddenly becomes a New Hampshire citizen, according to Pennsylvania.
Right.
I can't file a complaint against him in Pennsylvania because the law says that you have to be a resident to file a complaint with this guy.
But you found some residents.
I found some residents. And they have a blog, which is
even
pretty
better,
well read in Philly. So we're going to work that out. And, if you can't
sounds
prosecute...
like we need to link him, too.
Oh, we're going to link them up right away. These guys are really, really, really good. They're good satire, lots of details, fabulous stuff. And you know how they call people Joe Sixpack?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're going to love this. They have a name for the average Philadelphia resident who just doesn't pay much attention to politics but has to pay the taxes. They call him Hoagie Mouth. I love that. Now, since I was born in Norristown, Pennsylvania, not far from where they are, I'm like an assistant Hoagie Mouth.
Yes.
So I've sent them that information. We'll see how that goes. We'll get them stirred up down there. And last Friday, I went to Carl Robert Gibson's hearing at Merrimack Superior Court here in town.
Oh, the
other guy we caught. That's Carl Robert Gibson, the vote thief.
Yeah.
From many, many, many states and many, many different places. He's being prosecuted here by the New Hampshire Attorney General's office, and they say he is from 26 Summit Street. No. He is from 117 Comanche Drive in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. He is a Kentucky resident. He voted here in 2012 when he was up here with a group of activists going after Frank Ginta. That's when he first became active in New Hampshire that I can find. He's been arrested in 6 or 7 different states for his political activism, started back in 2006 in Kentucky. He loves to protest. He loves to chain himself to things. He has a lot of spare time. Travels all around doing this. Well, he came here in 2012 and he registered to vote because we make it easy on these people. We prosecute a guy from New Hampshire who votes in other towns, but actually lives in Manchester. But we don't prosecute people who live in other states and vote in New Hampshire. Apparently, that's the part we fall down.
And he didn't even live at Martha Fuller Clark's house.
No.
So I mean,
but he had established a presence of his website called U.S. Uncut. But he's operating out of an apartment here somewhere in Concord. But he's actually a Kentucky resident, and I know that because he renewed his Kentucky driver's license in 2013. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's a sign. If we had a list of things that indicated your residency, that would be way up on the top.
Well, in Kentucky, when you renew your driver's license, it has to be done in person. So we know where he was on that date when he did this. And in Kentucky, for $5.50 on my credit card, I bought a copy of his driving record. So I have that. I mean, these are the things we kind of should have here, so we can track who's voting here. But that's okay. Since they're interstate voters, I can track them in the other states. So he was in last Friday, sitting in there waiting for his attorney, which appears now to be an older member of the law firm. So I went in.
Does that mean things have got more serious?
I think things are getting more serious because Carl didn't have a big smile on his face. If you look at all the pictures we've posted on CNHD.org.
Did he recognize you when you sidled up to them on the?
He wouldn't even look in my direction, but his attorney did. And his attorney quickly pointed at him.
Did you just go, hi, a little finger wave?
His attorney pointed at him and went, "You out." So Carl got up and left the building. Because I checked the different rooms where lawyers would meet with their clients, and he didn't appear to be there.
And they're so afraid that they didn't even want him in the same building as you in case you heard something.
He says stupid things. You know, the last time I saw him, he came up, put his arm on me, and said I should chant some Buddhist chant. So he wasn't cocky or snotty like that, or smart this time. He looked scared to death. So apparently they're going to go. They were picking a date to try him. So the next hearing for this guy, this marshmallow, will be on April 22nd, and then jury selection begins in June.
And again, Robert Gibson, C. Robert Gibson was the guy who attempted to impersonate Yvonne Dean Bailey to claim she was dropping out of the race.
Well, that's what he's in trial for, voter suppression.
Yeah,
right?
He's in for voter suppression, which I believe is RSA 666, and if that's not bad enough, it's 0.6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it probably goes to infinity, 66666 right on. Yeah. So
it's like pi, it just keeps going.
And he has
such
a history.
a beast.
He has a history of doing this. So it's going. And he admitted to the this paper here in town that he did it.
I know, that's the best part.
They
that was me.
They did investigate.
I had a couple beers and I pretended to be Yvonne Dean Bailey.
Well, this one time they did investigative journalism. They probably didn't hope to do.
Right.
They've exposed one of their own, a left winger. Yeah. So he is now awaiting trial for that and some other misdemeanor of shuffling papers that he shouldn't have his hands on, I think is the statute. So anyways.
Did he stuff them down his pants like Sandy Burglar?
No.
Skip, chip in for goodness sake.
I guess they consider the tweet a physical document. So like in the right to know law, paper documents and electronic documents are called physical documents. Okay, so they're the same thing.
It's definitely not going away.
No, it's
that tweets forever.
So there he was. I should have stationed someone outside to see what car he got into or something like that. But right now, it's really over for him, unless he pleads guilty and moves on. But we're still tracking him to see who he's associated with. But Maureen Mann and the lefties in this state know who he is. He's been here before, and he wrote a little e-book about taking on Frank Ginta. And when somebody like that comes from out of state and they're with people from Credo PAC, that's where the money comes from for our campaigns. Very difficult to win campaigns in New Hampshire because so much out-of-state money comes here. And this is the type of creep that comes with that money. On the left side, we know.
I'm glad you mentioned out-of-state money in New Hampshire elections. I got a little thing to say about the AOT campaign and their constant begging. But let's skip out for a while. Skip, say something.
Yeah, I look at this and go, gee, finally the AG's office, basically when slapped in the face with a fish broadside, has finally had to take an effort in actually showing that, well, maybe there is some voter fraud. Yeah, they're calling it voter suppression, but it really is voter fraud because you are defrauding the regular voters here in New Hampshire. And I just hope they put this guy around. And Ed, real kudos on you for getting a scalp.
Well, I've turned into a stalker, and I didn't know I was good at it, you know?
Oh, yes, you are. I think any conservative activist who is, and this shouldn't even be just a conservative activist. This should be any regular voter who's listening to this should be giving you a round of applause and an attaboy for basically saying, I'm going to go after these guys using my own time, a lot of my own time, money and effort, and try to do the job that government won't do. And we have seen it under Republican as well as Democrat governors, Republican and Democrat attorney generals. You know, we've heard the stories of you going to the AG's office with binders and binders of people to go investigate, and they go, eh. And I think now they're finally starting to take it a little more seriously because you've just been grinding and grinding away at this. Now they have to pay attention. And certainly they got egg on their face when James O'Keefe did that series of videos here in New Hampshire at the last primary season. And I think there's a little bit of CYA going on as well. But kudos to you for getting this guy in front of a judge.
Yeah, well, thanks, and then thanks for posting all this stuff with the fabulous pictures, like that monkey I put up with Earl Metzler.
You like that?
Oh man!
I'm for those of you who don't know, I'm Ed's editor. I take care of the pictures and I post his posts for him because Facebook apparently WordPress is a stretch. So he's good with that other, I forget what it was. Yeah, there's another website, NH Insider. You're okay with their interface, their blog editor. But this one, he just sends it to me, and hopefully I get it up the same day because I got to dig it out of my email.
Well, that monkey.
That was the monkey that you were talking about.
The monkey lost his court case the same day Metzler did.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing the comparison. I'm thinking the only thing different is the monkey doesn't shave his head.
Right.
So, but with these
and
guys,
the monkey's not a coach.
Without these out-of-state voters that come here, leave a paper trail, and it's easy to pick up, and they've actually led me to more and more of each other by their LinkedIn sites, by who they get photographed with, and it's come down to a pattern. I can pretty much tell you when they're 15 or 16 years old whether they're not going to come here from another state and steal a vote by their backgrounds. It's amazing how they fall into a certain strata. You know, it's.
So are you saying that you're effectively the thought police for these punks? You could actually figure out which ones are going to come here and cause trouble?
I inhabit that tiny little spot in their mind where a conscience should be, I think, right now. So we're hoping to get a couple of heads on stakes, and I think Carl Robert Gibson is going to be the first, and then hopefully Jared Stephen Cram. He may have to step down from this thing in Philly, but it serves as an example to the other out-of-state activists that come here who interface with each other. They know who each other are. They went to the same schools. They used and worked on the same campaigns. Remember the girl that was laughing at the fire in New York City? Mm-hmm. She was associated with one of the people we caught here. Mm-hmm. So it gets to be a smaller and smaller world for these people as they come to New Hampshire. And we have one that we're tracking, and I'm hoping we can use the guy's name shortly. But he approached somebody who knew me, and he was campaigning. And he said he was campaigning here on behalf of a candidate, and he was going to vote here. And the person warned him not to. And this guy says, "We're aware of Ed Naile." So that's my little badge of honor, you know, that the campaigns actually have to talk about it. Be careful, he's out there. And that when they say my name, it's Gerard at Large, it's Granite Rock, all of our various CNHT website. I'm trying to have our CNHT website as basically a fact check. Mm-hmm. You can go there and look these people up, see their pictures. So we have Gastonguay right on the front page right now, and it's as though the guy thought, someday I might need a mug shot, so I'll take one now and use it. So we found that on the internet. And we have dozens of pictures of Carl Gibson. He is not going to want to see on the internet when he gets convicted. We have a picture of him in gold lame pants. So when they sentence him to jail, he'll be in those.
All right, we're coming up to the end of the segment, the end of the hour. Next hour, we're scheduled to have Kevin Kervick in. He's not here yet, but hopefully he shows up in the next 5 or 6 minutes. And then Doug Sackleben from the Club for Growth. Everybody hang in there. This is Grok Talk, brought to you by GraniteGrock.com and the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers, right here at 8 I hadn't done that yet today. 8 North Main Street, Concord, New Hampshire. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Rock.